All right, we're back. Episode 5 of our little revision series, day 2 of me recording these things. So let's see if we can keep our momentum going. Today is about the aims and results of policies, aims and impact of domestic, economic, political, cultural, and social policies, the impact of policies on women and minorities. All right, so let's get into it. So when we talk about economic policies in Germany, the first guy that we have to talk about is Schacht and the new plan, right? Schacht is attributed with German recovery, right? So he is going to come in. He's the first economic minister. So this is at the peak years of the depression, right? This is 32 into 33, not 32, sorry, 33 into 34, right? So the depression is still pretty harsh in Germany. There are a lot of people out of work. Schacht comes in to try and fix that situation. One of the main things he wants to do is balance trade. He wants to kind of fix the German import export situation. He's going to organize industry from a state level, right? That is again one of the proponents of fascism, right? To reduce the high levels of unemployment and get more men to work. One of the ways in which he does that is by public works schemes, right? So this is going to be an easy way to increase employment. It's going to use government money to fund these infrastructure projects. The Autobahn is a prime example of something that is built under Schacht's new plan that puts men back to work, right? This is going to be a butter over guns approach, right? He is targeting the idea of economic growth. He is targeting the idea of consumer products. He's targeting the idea of a rise in standard of living for the German people, right? He's also going to implement RADs, right, or RADs, however you want to say it. This is the National Labor Force. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Unemployment is going to fall drastically under shock. So the new plan is incredibly effective. But if you remember, after a couple years of the new plan, Hitler's going to have the Hossbach memorandum, right, where he is going to say that war is inevitably going to happen, and it's going to be over the idea of Lebensraum. So once Hitler makes that statement that war is going to come, he needs to change economic ministers to focus on war preparedness and not so much on just economic recovery anymore. So that is where Hermann Goering is going to come into play. He's the commander in chief of the Luftwaffe, right? So he is a military guy that also has an economic background. Again, the war for Lebensraum is what's going to motivate this move. It's not that Schacht didn't do a good job. It's that he was a little bit more focused on the butter over the guns, and now we need to focus on the guns over the butter, right? This is known as the 4-year plan. So they need to get ready. They need to get Germany ready to go to war in Eastern Europe over the idea of Lebensraum. Okay. This is going to be a large expansion of arms manufacturing. This is last year when I talked about this, I brought up movies like Schindler's List, where they're taking consumer factories, butter factories, and converting them into military gun factories. Okay. Let's keep going. Impact on workers. Okay, so what impact did these policies, did the state have on the workers? First, it's decent, right? Unemployment is going to drop drastically under these economic policies, particularly under Schacht, right? The public works schemes worked. They helped fix the employment crisis in Germany, so these are good things. Young men participated in RADs to help both them and the economy. So RADs were mandatory kind of work years for young men. I think they were 6 months to a year. And this is kind of like almost like conscription, but for work, right? So men are going to go back to work, particularly young men in the early part of Hitler's Germany, right? Trade unions are going to be replaced by the German Labor Front, and that is going to be their Strength Through Joy program is one of the big things to talk about, right? That is an incentive program that gives people like, cheap holidays, cheap vacations, theater tickets, leisure activities, all of these other things to incentivize their production in their field of work, right? This is going to give German workers the illusion of positivity, an illusion that nothing has dropped off in terms of their freedom and their ability to fight for their rights as workers. when in reality, working conditions definitely took a hit. People had to work harder jobs in worse working conditions and longer hours under the Nazis, but those incentive programs kind of blinded them to that. But in reality, the state could take away any of those incentives when they felt like they needed to take away those incentives, which is exactly what they are going to do towards the end of the war. 43, 44, 45, the Strength Through Joy program goes away. Impact on youth. First thing to talk about here is the idea of Hitler Youth. Right, Hitler Youth is going to be a program that expands drastically after Hitler takes power. Right, the Hitler Youth came out early on in the Nazi kind of story. Right, I think it goes all the way back to the mid 20s, where the first idea of Hitler Youth, but it's going to grow dramatically as a state-sponsored program after he takes over. This is going to be a way to promote both Nazi ideology and Hitler himself to the youth. This is that word indoctrination, right? The youth are not going to oppose Adolf Hitler if you brainwash them early. Think the movie Jojo Rabbit, right? All you have to do to kind of compartmentalize this idea is watch Jojo Rabbit again. Um, Young men are going to be trained like a paramilitary group. They're going to be taught outdoor skills. Again, think of Jojo Rabbit. They're throwing knives, they're throwing grenades, they're learning how to shoot guns, survival skills. All of those things are going to be taught to young men. Aryan supremacy is kind of at like the forefront of Hitler Youth. It's one of the main themes of Hitler Youth. Again, that's that indoctrination, that's that brainwashing. By 1939, there are 8 million young men in the Hitler Youth program. And again, there are age stages to it. And then the League of German Maidens is going to be the Hitler Youth program for females. And that's going to teach motherhood and how to keep a home and how to be ladylike and all of the kind of the second class citizen role, the gender roles that women took in Nazi Germany. A little bit more of impact on youth from an educational standpoint. So education is going to be taken over by the Nazis as soon as Hitler comes into power, just like there's a minister of economics and a minister of propaganda, Joseph Goebbels. There's also going to be a minister of education, and that's going to be Rust. All right. And he is going to implement a lot of different ideas into the German curriculum. First and foremost is that idea of eugenics, right? That kind of that biology thing that we talked about last year. And this is going to be a way to teach Nazi ideology, Aryan supremacy, as well as social Darwinism in one program kind of wrapped up together. And again, that's feeding that indoctrination idea. Physical education is going to be very important as the Germans, again, that's that Aryan supremacy, that's that master race kind of idea shining through again here. History books are going to be revised to alter the end of World War I and make it seem like Germany was not the losers here. Jewish teachers are going to be dismissed, and we're going to have elite SS schools that are going to be established called Napoleons, and that's going to help train and guide the future generation of SS officers. Impact on women. Let's do that. Big impact on women, right? They are the gender roles of the woman are something we talked about a lot, and again, a stark contrast to when we get to these videos about Castro, right? The National Socialist Women's League was a subsection of the Nazi Party to kind of even enforce that idea that women were second-class citizens in their own society, right? Women lost access to higher education. Women are not going to be allowed to have civil service jobs. The role of women as like doctors or lawyers is going to be next to impossible in Nazi Germany, right? Women should lead healthy lifestyles and be ladylike. No smoking, no makeup, nothing that focuses on her as the woman. Everything is supposed to be about her family, not necessarily her. We've got the 3Ks of women in Nazi Germany: children, kitchen, and church. Right, that is their role in society. Birth rate was a huge focal point targeted to women. A big part of the propaganda to women was have a child for Hitler, have a child for Germany. Abortion is going to become illegal in this phase because again, they want women to have children to foster the next wave of soldiers to kind of keep Nazi expansionism alive. right? As the war kind of starts taking a toll on the German home front and the German economy, women are part of a land year where they are asked to work on farms to help produce agricultural products for the front lines. That land year is going to switch to jobs in factories after 42, after the turning point, and that's going to go dramatically in 43 and 44, right? Women were also privy to the Lebensborn program, and that's going to create, that's essentially like breeding, right? That's pairing a very elite top level SS Aryan male with a woman that fits the mold of the perfect German woman, having them make kids together so that those kids can rise up to be super Nazis, if you will. Impact on minorities. This is where we unfortunately, talked about sterilization and the euthanasia program. Sterilization is going to be situations like blind and deaf people are going to be sterilized so they can't pass that gene down to future generations. Euthanasia, which is, again, kind of assisted suicide. That's going to be people with mental illnesses, right? So, like, mental retardation is going to be euthanized. The euthanasia program is going to stop in 41 due to public outcry about how awful it was. But a lot of those techniques that they used in the euthanasia program are going to carry over into the final solution, which is our whole Jewish question here. Now, I did not expand this, right? We know about the Holocaust. We talked about it. I just gave you a couple kind of key dates here. 35 is when the Nuremberg laws are enforced, right? Or introduced and enforced. 38 is Kristallnacht. That's the night of broken glass. That's where the Jewish prosecution is going to take on a higher level, right? That's where Jewish people are going to be escorted out of their homes, their businesses, and they're going to start that transition into the ghettos and then ultimately the concentration camps, which were work camps when they first started. But after 1942 and the final solution is thought of, that's when they turn into those death camps with the crematoriums and all that stuff. Okay, that is it for this episode. That's episode 5 in the books. We are officially done with Hitler. I'll come back with episode 6 where we start the exact same stuff all over again, but we focus on Castro. Hope this is helping.